Happy Monday, first Monday of January, first Monday of 2021, a day of firsts, and probably the first Monday before big changes take place in Georgia. How about
Yes.
that? How
Right.
about that? Hey, everybody, I'm Sybil Wilkes, and welcome to What You Need to Know. This is our opportunity to talk to you all about what we have in our What You Need to Know newsletter. What is that? It's a newsletter that we produce each and every day. Monday through Friday, talking about stories that pertain and are centered around the African American community. And of course, what better topics to talk about today in terms of the African American community as we have been for these many months now, talking about tomorrow being the last day to vote in the two runoff elections in the Georgia Senate campaigns. And it is a lot of fun to talk about. I love politics and I love these young people who are here and who are so spirited. I sound like my grandmother. Oh, you young people, you're so good. But also just love the fact that they're involved and they are our future, and glad that the future is in such great, capable, and charming hands as well. The What You Need to Know newsletter. Just let me tell you about that for a second. This is an extension of the Tom Joyner Morning Show for years. Of course, we talked about news and information pertaining to the African American community. If you'd like to sign up and be a part of our merry little newsletter family, please subscribe at sybilwilkes.com. Go to your computer and log on to Sybil Wilkes, Sybil like the crazy girl, Wilkes like John Wilkes Booth, and give us your name and your email address. And I promise every Monday through Friday morning, it'll be in your email box. That's as some folks on the East Coast, as our friend producer Ahmed says, it's there every morning, 6:31, and so we like that, and we ask that you all subscribe. It is free, absolutely free. As many of you know who have watched us now for these many months, today is our Coy Malone Day. It's our social activist. Coy joins us on Mondays and talk about the issues that she is so vastly uh, participating in, as well as informing people about. So, hello, Coy.
Hey, Sybil, how you doing today?
I'm good. Good. Happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday to you. I'm
Uh,
hoping everybody is energized and ready to cast those ballots tomorrow if you haven't already done so in Georgia. Get
those
ready.
that haven't, yeah, already records have been broken, and we can talk to your guest about this as well. These two young women talking about the organization My Black has a purpose, and talking to Takara Hemingway, the founder there, as well as Z Lawrence. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Hey y'all,
Hey.
How are you all?
we're
Great.
doing great.
Great. Glad,
Phenomenal.
glad, glad to be here in 2020. Thank God we made it with all this craziness.
Yeah, we did make it. And one interesting thing that I heard the vice president elect say yesterday in her campaign speech, the drive in rally that they had in Savannah. And she said, we cannot celebrate 2020 being over
Hmm.
until tomorrow.
Listen,
And
Mm,
that is the day that we celebrate all of the bad that went on in 2020. And tomorrow, after the election is over, and I don't think, and I don't know if I'm alone in this, ladies, but I don't think tomorrow we're going to get the results tomorrow night. I
I
think it's
right?
that
probably going to be a lot like it was before during the general election.
right.
It's going to
I,
take a day or two or three. But she said we can start celebrating and the beauty, the promise of 2021 after the two men are elected. And this has been a wonderful experience. I had an opportunity to come and meet you folks in Atlanta and throughout Georgia, actually, a couple of weeks ago. And thanks to the folks at Black Voters Matter. Black
Mhm.
Voters Matter. Go to blackvotersmatterfund.org and for more information. And we thank them for their support and in helping us to keep our computer laptops open as well as the lights on here. So let me ask you, ladies, let me ask you, Takara and Z, your thoughts on where we are today, and we'll also get to the background of how you all got into this. But let's talk about where we are today and how do you think things look for tomorrow?
where we are today with a killing in Minnesota
Mm,
just in recent hours.
mhm,
New Year's came, but like the vice president, stated, uh, we really in 2021? We're still,
Right.
you
Right.
know, 2020 Christmas. We really couldn't celebrate Advent. I'm a minister of music, and it's
Mm.
ooh, what songs do we sing? It's very difficult to put all of that and wrap it into one, in one measure or a few music notes. So
Yeah.
where are we now? That's a good question. I can promise you, Black History Month, I'm so looking forward to it. Like, maybe we'll have some answers then. The inauguration is over. You
Mhm.
have a big kid out of the White House that's finally letting go of something that he lost. It's not your toy anymore. Share, let it
Mhm.
go. And it's
Fair.
like maybe we'll have some answers around February, right? Is that the
Mhm.
new year? So where are we now? My Black has a purpose. Lord have mercy. It's difficult, exchanging the value of pushing purpose, in the midst of a new civil rights era. And
Mhm.
I thought I was just doing the good thing of supporting my mother, who was a Tuskegee, fighter. She marched with King and all this stuff. Oh, okay, let me talk about your stories. Let me
Right.
push that. Oh, that's history. No, we got to relive it again. Like, what's
Right.
happening? Are we going
Yeah.
back? So, yes,
It's like Groundhog Day in some respects, huh?
Right.
totally.
And it's kind of like, you can see a little bit of the stress. It looks like people are relieved of the stress just a little bit because we did
Mhm.
win the presidential election, but there's still that gray cloud because, like you said, the year isn't really over, or we really can't celebrate until after tomorrow. And
Mhm.
I like the statement you made, Sybil, when you kind of spoke, like the Bible says, speak of those things that are not as though they were. You said once the two men, and we know that one of the and so we are speaking. So but yeah, definitely, I think there's hope. I think people have gotten some hope, and we can kind of go off of that, and that has raised the confidence level in our community, but and
Mhm.
in our world, because we, like she said, for a long time, for these last 4 years, we felt like we've had a child in the White House,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
for that's how I feel. But just to know that we're moving past that, um, gives us some sense, something to look forward to.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Um,
the word that we're kind of looking for is the momentum that we actually have
yes,
right
mhm.
now at this current time. There is actual momentum we're seeing, and not just, political entities that are getting involved and making these changes. We're seeing these changes starting to happen on a local level with places like police departments that are starting to make changes, and local governments that are
right.
making changes with their newly elected officials that are Black for the first time. And it's 2021. We're having, places that have their first Black mayors and sheriffs and things like that. So we're starting to
Mhm.
see momentum happen right now, which is a great thing because we've been stagnant for a long time.
Come on.
There's a radio show that I listen to. I still am a diehard radio fan, and I listen to a podcast actually of the Kevin Hart radio show, his channel on Sirius XM, and there's one of the Plastic Cup Boys, and he absolutely hates that we are still in an age where we talk about the first Black this and first Black that.
Mm,
Mm.
I want to celebrate all of these first. I don't want it to slide by. Okay, it's taken us this long to get here. Missouri, St. Louis, as their first Black female representative in Congress, and Corey Brown, right? And so, but
Right.
all of these things, they're
Mm.
still important, and they still should be celebrated. And I think that what you all are doing and talking about my Black has purpose and these first is still necessary. I'm sorry it's taken us this long to get there,
no.
but still, in the meantime, we have our first Black woman to walk into the White House as vice president, and
Woo!
and on, right?
That's a
And
lot of
so,
first.
Yes.
A lot of first.
right,
It's
and
not
this is 4 years of this, right? Four
right.
years. And so let us, let's do our due diligence, get folks out to vote tomorrow. And then Wednesday, not sure what's going to happen in DC, by the way.
Yeah.
But we are going to celebrate. Let us, and celebrate all of these first. And as we have Raphael Warnock, he won't be the first Black man to step into the United States Senate, but there are very few ahead of him. And and think about poor Ed Brooke, who was the first Black man in modern day to represent the state of Massachusetts. But Raphael Warnock is not the first, not the second, but certainly real high up on that list, right? So let's talk about My Black Has a Purpose and how Z and Takara came together.
Oh man. So actually
you did that like how much time you got?
It'll be a long story.
And you said that was long story short, and it's not. It never is.
Right. It was just, I mean, it's just destined. Like actually Z had did a Zoom on her on her Facebook Live one day, and they were talking about all things Black in America. And I believe it was her sister who was hosting, and she made a comment, and this was after the death of George Floyd. And she made a comment saying, you know, we can march, and we can organize marches all day, but what after? What do we do after? You know, and that thing stuck with me. It stuck with me. And so I went on Facebook. Another friend of mine had made a post saying, you know, could Columbus organize a march? And I was like, man, I was just thinking that, you know. So we got together and we were able to organize one of the largest marches in Columbus, Georgia. Three Black women, and I mean, successful, peaceful, powerful, and purposeful. Okay. But it came to me. So I'm sitting in my room and I start thinking, and I'm like, man, I just got mad. And I was like, they killed this man in a street in front of people. I mean, people are literally yelling, he can't breathe. Take your knee off his neck, you know? And I got mad and I said, they killed him like he had no purpose, like his life. And all of a sudden I just got mad and I said, my Black has a purpose. And I'm tired of being treated like, you know, we don't have a purpose. So like, or tired of being treated like we should always fit the stigma that Black culture has, you know. And forgive me, I'm just real, okay? Because we talk about how well we can twerk. We talk about how good our lace fronts look. We talk about how who got the baddest dope boy, who got the best baby daddy, our cars, you know, everything on the all the material stuff and our external. We're always so consumed with that. You know, and I have to get to a point where we understand that that is not your purpose. That does not define you. And especially to our youth, that's the biggest thing. My Black Has a Purpose. It has a heart and a passion for reaching our youth. And so when I walk in places and they, you know, they read my shirt, I was telling Z a little while ago, it really speaks volumes to me when I have a youth or a young gentleman or a woman turn around and say, oh man, I love your shirt. I love what it says. Because that right there tells me My Black Has a Purpose needs no explanation. You know, it speaks for itself. All it needs is for you to believe it. If you believe that your Black has a purpose.
I know, right? I was like, she's leaving us with a word. Come on.
But real talk, if you know, we can speak it all day. I can tell you, Sybil, your Black has a purpose. But if you don't believe your Black has a purpose, then it means nothing. And we can't keep, yes, Black Lives Matter. And that movement was going, right? But how do they matter if they don't matter to people? They've got to matter to us. That's just like somebody saying, well, how can you teach somebody how to love you and you don't love yourself?
Come on.
You know, so that's where My Black Has a Purpose, the passion behind it came from. It's like, y'all, we've got to start believing in us. We want to rev up and get all upset and be ready to fight and go after and talk about oppression this, oppression that, and, you know, black this, black that. But we the first ones wanting to kill and hurt each other. And we've got to stop doing that. That is not our purpose. You know, we have a purpose to be doctors, lawyers. We actually had Kimberly Latrice Jones down here yesterday. And she spoke and she said it best. She said, my Black invented open heart surgery. My Black invented the stoplight. My Black invented peanut butter. You know, and we forget about those little things, those things that we consider little, or we just don't even, we don't look at those things. We don't consider those things because the stigma that has now been put on Black people and Black culture overtakes it all. And it's time out for that.
Right.
Yeah, and talking about you know how many points you're scoring, and I don't hate Steph Curry. I mean, I'm a real lame Chicago Bulls fan, and I celebrate. but he gets it too, that as important as it is for him to set records and scoring records and what have you, he also gets it in terms of how kids are scoring on their SATs or ACTs
Right.
or scoring or what their financial scores look like.
Yeah.
You know, those are all things that are important that we need to talk about and uplift each other for, right?
Right. And that's why we appreciate, platforms like yourself, Black Voters Matter, for them even, encouraging, the Urban League, hey, put something together and wanting to fund it. Those kind of things happen. They have to happen in our community, because if we're not getting funding from,
Right.
large C-suites, right, across the space, it's like, hey, well, we can get together, fund each other, and let's push our purpose, our movement, things for us. So that way, young people, older, all generations know that we're always with purpose, and we're not just here just to exist for no reason. We all have a good identity.
We're the blueprint, for the youth coming up. You've got to be somebody. It's got to start somewhere. And we get it that we get it that some may be lost, or I hate to even say some may be lost, because I feel like some people take that as we're giving up, and we're not. But we've got to start somewhere. We've got to give them some type of roadmap to follow. You know what I'm saying? Understand, like we've been saying the whole time, that they've got a purpose.
Right. Yeah. And we appreciate because just call even, things like this, we're grateful for, appreciative for, because most, I will say it, I'm not going to hold my tongue. Most of us, right, we just don't connect. We always looking for that clap back, or no, I want the light. And it's like, just make the connections and let's just grow together. That's what it is. And so Coy even putting us on this call, listen, to me, that's purpose.
Come on now.
We have to move past what we've been.
Like, we have to appreciate that.
We definitely got to move past our conditions, that we've been programmed to do.
That I've learned in talking to the older folks as well as to younger folks. I feel like I'm older, but I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle, in terms of like talking to I don't know, John Lewis or somebody of that stature, and so and it's really interesting to hear Coy talk week after week about these things that are happening in the street. And then to see you guys all together on your Instagram live last week, I thought that was really cool. And I love to see that, not only that sisterhood, but that peoplehood, that community that you all are developing in each in your own way. Coy, how important is that to you?
That's very important to me. We're taking it back to our roots, how we were. Before we were taken from our lands in Africa, before we were put into this system of oppression and slavery, and now we have a system of institutional and financial slavery that's going on, currently, and then we have this view that's pushed about Black people in the media that the world thinks is who we are. And we're not. We're people that have always loved to learn. We're people that always love to explore. We're people that always love to barter and to trade and just to share knowledge. And we did so freely. And unfortunately, because of the experience that we've had as Black Americans over the last 600 years, that now a part of this separation and a part of this looking at each other as if we're enemies has been ingrained in us. So now we're at the point where we have to work to move past that type of mindset, that mentality, and a part that's been kind of ingrained in our DNA to get back to this community that we are and to serve what our purpose is, and to even understand that we do have a purpose.
And it's so juvenile. I mean, even I always laugh at the housewife shows and things like that, and the love and hip hop shows and stuff, because it's all of that kind of bullying and the mean girls and that kind of thing. And we've got so much to offer. We really do. And we just have to open ourselves up to what everybody has to give. And as Quincy Jones said years ago, probably before you all were born, when they were creating We Are the World, leave your egos at the door.
Yes,
you know, because
Definitely.
this is such a greater purpose. And if I may borrow from your title, this really is, our Black really does have purpose. And I really love that you guys are working together. Now, you all do have a PSA. It is something we cannot play because of the YouTube, police. Oh, they hate when I say that, police smart. But it is true. So, but I would just want people to talk about. I want you to talk about, tell people what the PSA is and what they can look forward to and how they can find it.
So it's actually okay. You know the YMCA song, everybody's familiar. And typically we do YMCA. Well, I don't even know how to put no more because I'm so used to it. We just took it over, right? There you go. So see, you got it. You got it. But we just had I had an idea one day and was like, man, we need to do a song. And I'm actually known for singing. I'm not, this is my first time ever really being, and I'm not afraid to admit it because I'm actually proud that I have now educated myself to a point where I'm more involved with politics and, you know, and even excited about getting to know more about politics and understanding it, which I also feel is a great need in our African American community. I'm going off a little bit, so I'm coming back. Give me one second. But Z and I have actually been canvassing, like on the ground, boots on the ground, honey, door to door, knocking on doors, giving out literature, trying to get people to these polls, working with Black Pack and Ground Games, these different organizations to get this vote out. And the saddest, well, I'll say one of the saddest things I've run into is where people say, our community is like, oh, what do you mean vote again? We already voted. The president already vote again, you know, because of the lack of knowledge. And again, I'm gonna refer to the Bible. The Bible says that my people are destroyed due to lack of knowledge, you know, and we don't know, so we don't do, you know, and if we don't know, we can't better ourselves. So I take pride in the fact that I have gotten involved in this arena of things, you know, that I never was in, I never had.
That's what friends are for, right there.
Yeah, it's definitely been a journey for me because I'll be like, Z be like, you don't know what is that, and what does that mean, and what, you know. But hey, you got to. My teacher told me, "Ain't no dumb question, but the one not asked." So I'm gonna ask.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, so I had an idea because, like I said, naturally I'm a singer, and I've been known for singing, you know, all this time. And I was like, man, what can we do that could grab the attention of the youth? And these babies are so into TikTok and you know, Instagram and dancing and doing all these dances. So I was like, shoot, we need to do a song. So, you know, it was like YMCA VOTE. So then we started coming up with dance moves of how we could do the V, the O, and the T, and the E. And that's how it came about, you know. But I got with a friend of ours named Khalil Ransom, and I asked him, I said, look, I want to change the beat, though. I want to give it a little, you know, what am I looking for? A little, you know, it make you do that. There you go. Something that they could actually dance to, you know what I'm saying? And just make it a little different, a little flair on it. And that's what we did, man. The song came together, and honestly, the end of the song, in part of the song, it says, rock that boat, right. Rock your boat, right. And none of that was written. My mother actually helped me to write the lyrics to the song. And all the ending just kind of came from the head. I was just in there playing around and started saying stuff and went with it. And then Coy and Nikki were so great to come down from Atlanta and help us shoot the video in, I mean, limited amount of time.
Oh, that's cool. So there were some restrictions on that, but you all were able to get the job done.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes. Yes, ma'am.
And I got this really cool T-shirt too. I had to show y'all my my Black Has a Purpose shirt.
Oh, nice.
We'll get you one.
I was going to say hi. How can people see it?
So right now it's all over Facebook.
Yes, it's on Facebook and YouTube. YouTube, of course, put a restriction. It's limited in certain countries, you know, but we're fighting for those rights. I sent an email to a friend, Garrett Levin, with Digital Media Association, so for them to help us out, you know, because it's a fun song. We don't want any monetization or anything like that, but we just want to have, you know, fun rights to share it. So hopefully that's the answer.
These dynamic young women, Takara Hemingway, founder of My Black Has a Purpose, and her girl Z Lawrence, they are working and making a difference in our communities. And you say this is like within the last 6 months?
Yes.
My Black Has a Purpose was born May 29th.
Wow. 4 days after George Floyd, you guys had enough and decided that this was going to happen.
Yeah. So I was I was in the corporate sector January of last year, and I actually left my hat very high up, and I told the CEO and the others, I'm done. I can't. I'm not going to just look at discrimination in HR, in boardrooms. I'm tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was too much, and I'm limited to even state what I can state on that because of legal reasons. The whole point is I walked away. When George Floyd occurred, it hit me because I was like, have I done all that I can do with the power that I think I have, or the connect? Have I done anything for my people for real? For real? Like, what have I done to prevent, George Floyd from getting choked by a knee? Then I considered, like the Bible says, you considered yourself, right? It was pretty tough. So I had to have that real conversation with myself. And I realized I really hadn't. I was pimping my mom's story, from Malcolm X and all her days of service. And, my mama, my dad.
She got some good stories there.
My older sisters, my cousins, all of them do that. I'll help you. I'll send a donation, and it's like, what have I really done? So I just really had to evaluate myself, and that's when came up with the call. And I just wanted to put that call out there saying, let me get together some friends from all over the United States on this Zoom, regardless of color, and let's talk about it. It's going to be a tough conversation. And so that sparked things, and a couple of my Republican buddies and racist buddies, they weren't cool. And then the deletion started, and oh, Z, we didn't know you thought like that. Oh,
it's always that.
Yeah.
So it was, okay, I see how y'all are for real. And then we began looking at, the smaller community even better. And I'm just grateful that call, motivated her to say, hey, well, what more can I do? Because that was the only reason for the call. Let me make sure I'm doing all that I can do with what I have, to make sure that we're really a community. So just looking back at it, I still laugh at myself like, man, I've been working ever since. This is a lot of
Well, when it was actually when I came up with the name, I kept saying, this is not just a moment, this is a movement. And that was the first thing I told my the other young lady who actually helped myself and two other young ladies put the march together that took place on June 6th here in Columbus, Georgia. But I actually said, I want to start a movement. Because movement, and like Coy said, movement with momentum that can't be stopped.
Right.
This is not something we can't march today and then go back to what we were doing tomorrow.
Right.
That's the problem. That's what we're doing now, and that's why nothing has happened. But when we keep moving, when we do have the momentum and we keep moving like we're doing now, this is why we're able to celebrate what Sybil said, those first. You see what I'm saying? Those things that they're tired of us saying. Those like here in Columbus, we just celebrated our first Black sheriff. We're going to celebrate those things, because I honestly feel like this is probably the hardest the world has ever pushed.
Yeah.
For a cause like this. We came together in such great unity. I mean, across the world. And it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just, we got to keep it going.
And you have to, and like you said, it's like you both said, it's that momentum that's pushing the movement, and we have to keep that alive and keep you all uplifted as well. Because as we know, the times are hard. The road can be very tough to travel and make you a little weary, but we have to be there to lift our brothers and sisters up as they go through this. And so that's why we're here. We want to not only uplift you, but also to let the world know your story and to get other people involved. Is there a website?
Our website was actually under development this week, and our launch date is February 1 Black History
nice.
Month. So 2121. Listen,
Hey.
but definitely, look, we've grabbed as many websites as we could just in case somebody went out there and wanted to buy them. But yes, ma'am, we launched. But for now, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at My Black Has a Purpose.
Gotcha.
Definitely, we want everyone to follow, join, become a member, do whatever you can. Columbus, Georgia headquarters, but we're willing to do the work across the United States and the world. That's the vision. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
She took it. Yeah,
That's pretty awesome.
Vision.
That's pretty awesome. I did have an opportunity to come through Columbus when I was down there with the folks from Black Voters Matter, and it is a lovely city and really, really excited people.
Yes.
Everybody was just really jazzed, and it was cool to take some of that energy away. And moving on to another city. That's really important. And we had Macon and Columbus and Augusta, and with the stops. I was hoping to get back down there, but that virus thing. So, do you all have time to stick around and talk a couple of stories from our newsletter?
Sure.
Okay. As I mentioned, Coy is our social activist. And Coy, I'm trying to find your story that was in today's newsletter, but I do want to talk a little bit and give folks a sneak peek of tomorrow. Not to tell the whole thing, but because this is local to Georgia, and talking about the Ahmaud Arbery case, and just give people just a little taste of what you worked on for tomorrow's newsletter.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of when Ahmaud Arbery was murdered just outside of Brunswick, Georgia, while jogging through a residential neighborhood by two persons, father and son, last name McMichaels. They've been in police custody in jail, held without bond. In addition to the young man who also recorded the murder. So what the attorneys have done on behalf of the McMichaels, they have filed several motions trying to gain favor for the McMichaels. One of the motions that they filed was to ban the term victim for referring to Ahmaud Arbery, basically saying that this hasn't been proven in court and we need all of the substantial evidence to prove that Ahmaud Arbery is a victim and the McMichaels are innocent until proven guilty. They have filed other motions, including wearing things to the effect of, Black Lives Matters, I can't breathe, things like that within the courtroom, saying that this infringes on the First Amendment because now it's pretty much projecting a certain type of view of the McMichaels. Several motions have been filed at the end of the year, December 30th and December 1st. The decisions have not been reached. They have not been reached as of yet by the judge. And also the trial date hasn't been set. But it just goes to show the length that people will go to try to stand on what they believe, even when it's wrong. I just hope that when I become a lawyer, that I don't represent people like that.
Come on
well,
now.
you know what? I'm not a lawyer and I don't even play one on the radio, but isn't it really amusing and perhaps amusing isn't the word, but how interesting is it that these men are asked to be held innocent until proven guilty, and Ahmaud Arbery did not get that same opportunity, that he was innocent of anything, and yet they said that the story that they conjectured, that they put together, was that he was out there roaming through houses that were under construction and stealing from them and things like that. He never got that opportunity, right?
Exactly.
He never got the opportunity to show what a fine young man he was or on his way to be, because they took that away from him.
25 years old.
Yeah, 25. It just and it's Georgia. It's Alabama. Hello, I'm from Chicago. It's Chicago. It just doesn't matter. But this is where we once again we may not be able to wear the shirts in the courtroom, but this is where we make them know that my Black has a purpose.
Come on now.
This is really it.
We're always
this is what we try to do.
Victimized by their perception. You perceive us to be doing something, or it's it's an idea in your head. The guy was, you don't know what he was doing exactly. He's not here to tell that story, but whatever you perceive, we always have to pay the penalty for that.
Yeah.
We're tired of that. That has to stop.
And that's
especially in the deep, dirty South.
Mm-hmm. Well, South side of Chicago ain't easy either. I'm just saying. You're absolutely right. It is. But here's the other thing. It's not just the South. Coy's story today in the newsletter was about the shooting, the first police-involved shooting, and it was a Black man in Minneapolis, just a mile away from where George Floyd was killed.
Yes, and that area has seen a lot of civil unrest since the killing of George Floyd. There's been an increased amount of violence that has happened within that area. And now, unfortunately, here we are again 6 months later, facing the same type of situation by the same police department. So it just makes us think, what is it going to take for the city of Minneapolis to get its stuff together? I don't want to curse. But get its stuff together. Like, when are we gonna?
Right.
Do you all see now that what we're referring to when we talk about the police department needs to have some type of reformation to happen, to occur, because their formula to arrest suspects, guilty or innocent, is in the form of killing them. They're taking away their human rights, and they're taking away, as you said, Sybil, their right to a judge and jury. You become that when you decide to take someone's life. Right. And that's just not fair. And it's just happening disproportionately to Black people. And at this point, I just really hope at this point, now that we're in 2021, that people understand why Black lives matter and why, our Black has a purpose. Because as soon as we're seeing, it's guilty. Guilty. And it's just not, it's not right. We don't see this happening often with other people. So I'm just really, I'm glad that we do have some momentum going forward and that changes are being made. I hope now that people get it through their heads and get out of their own pigeonhole views of the world and how they think things should operate, and understand that we are people and that we matter. And then if you really want to break it down, I mean, we were the ones that built this country. We did it involuntarily. And we have gotten behind every other cause that has happened, whether it was the Holocaust, World War I, World War II, the Cold War, Vietnam, so many different other causes that we've gotten behind. We just want y'all to support us just so we can live regularly.
Right. And don't hear us. That's the problem. Because they, like Z was saying, because of their perception and because of the color of our skin, like my Black is not a crime. My Black is not dangerous. You know what I'm saying? And just because you see me and you perceive me or think that I'm about to be doing something does not give you the right to kill me.
No.
And it leads to a lot of mental health issues, which, Takar is a nurse practitioner, mental health. And it's like, that leads to so many more issues, especially in our community, because, we're not educated to go, get the medicines or do what's necessary. Or the main thing, talk to someone, right?
Exactly.
Or, just psychology. Hey, let's just talk. I have these issues. And so that's the whole other side of it. It's like layers.
I think about that little boy, Keon's son, and just the years of PTSD he's going to suffer as a result of Soho Karen and her accusing him and tackling him as he's coming off the elevator with his dad, accusing him of stealing her iPhone, which she left in an Uber, by the way. And now there is a call. Our friend Ben Crump, the attorney, civil rights attorney, is calling for a group of people to get together to sign a petition, to sign his petition to get charges brought against her. They still haven't brought any charges against this young woman who obviously has some issues, and she has previous run-ins with the law. And so, but this boy, 14, he's a boy. And thank God he was with his father. Just imagine if you're with your parents and they say, okay, I'm not ready yet. You go down and get us a table. And suppose he had gone down to get them a table, and as soon as he comes out the elevator, she attacked him, and his father was not there. And he will suffer for this. This boy will suffer for this. And no amount of money in a lawsuit is going to make up for this.
Exactly.
No.
It's the
Money doesn't.
experience.
Yeah, definitely. It's trauma. It's mental trauma.
Yeah.
Though he was not physically harmed, his mind, and it's gonna be, it'll depend on his ability to cope, on how well he will heal from that situation.
Yeah.
And we hope that, he doesn't see all women, you know what I'm saying, like that. It's one woman.
Yeah.
And I see that. Z said, I'm a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, and I see that a lot in my profession. People do things, or they react to situations of today because of situations that were never handled from their past.
Yeah.
And it's really scary. Like she said, also, we don't address those things, especially in the Black household. Because I know when I was growing up, and I love my mama. I thank God that I have the mindset that I have. But we were taught, you don't talk about what's going on in my house. You don't talk at school. You don't tell nobody my business.
You're gonna get
right. Let somebody call me and you just told them what's going on in my house. I'm gonna tell you how.
Right. Yeah.
We've been programmed, and so we don't talk to anybody. We hold all that stuff in, and then eventually we snap or we pop, and then it's too late,
Exactly.
And then they go ahead and slap that stereotype on us. Oh, there's another,
Yep. It's that residual trauma that we carry on with us. And what ends up happening is we might not express this trauma immediately. These are things that happen later on down the line. So now here you are, you're a teenager, 14 years old, that just had this experience while you were with your father in Soho, your father who's well-to-do. And now we fast forward later on down the line, you're 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, and you express this form of trauma in a different way that to you seems unrelated, but there is exactly why it happened.
Right.
So
and then they're going to go running after Takara saying, please help this boy.
Right, please help me. Right, exactly. And this is what happens. Unfortunately, it happens too often in the Black community, and we're not taught that we can actually get past our traumas, that we can heal it, that we can even figure it out. So we end up being a majority, not a majority, but there's many of us that have issues later on, and we don't even know where to start because we weren't even told where to begin.
Yeah, how do you start
place.
unpacking all of this? Yeah,
exactly.
We use the analogy a lot of times, like in the medical field, also like of having it's an infection, right? And instead of healing the infection, you put a Band-Aid over it.
Right.
You've got to take antibiotics to kill the infection because it's going to fester and fester, and it's going to get worse and worse. And though you have a Band-Aid over it right now, and it looks like, oh, it's fine, but you take that Band-Aid off, now you see all the gruesomeness of what's grown. You see what I'm saying? Because you never dealt with it, and you never got to the root cause analysis. What caused this to happen? Let's start there. If you don't start at the root of it, then you will never be able to like overcome it, or like Coy was saying, heal from it. Heal from it. Dissociate or like try to suppress it all day long, but it's going to be that one thing. It's going to take, all it's going to take is one situation that sparks something that reminds you of whatever it was that you experienced back then, and it's going to be all over because you never learn how to deal with it.
Yeah.
One of the things that we are very serious about is telling our news and everything, but we also need a lighter moment, and we do like to have that. And I just want to know, and we have started, for folks who don't know, we have started an inspirational moment every day, and from Yogi's Jewels, and looking for that to find that. But the lighter story is, what do you think about President Attorney General Obama?
Love it. Anything to get him back in there. Yes.
Listen, please.
I'm excited.
Everybody says, oh, the Obama said they don't want to have anything. We know that. But it's an interesting idea. It's an interesting concept. And it is interesting in that it is the one first step towards what this law professor who has written this op-ed piece in the Hill and said, what about, you haven't made your announcement for the Attorney General. What about Barack Obama and how that would give all of your voters, your Democrats, the Republicans that voted for you, the independents, give you a sense of not just the things that he talked about in his campaign and his administration, but really give them a sense of direction and how serious you are about bringing justice to this country by having President Obama as your Attorney General. And then this is a great step towards your appointing him as a Supreme Court Justice.
That would be amazing.
I'll wait for that part, because listen, the Attorney General is cool, but baby, go on up to the last.
Exactly.
Listen.
We need more Black Supreme Court justices, as we saw, recently.
We got one.
Yeah, and we saw recently.
And that's questionable.
I was going to say, I'm so petty. We do. No. We do.
You are funny. Well, let's just say he took the seat of our Black justice. Okay, he's keeping it warm until another is appointed. But my feeling is that that they should get obviously I'm all in favor of a Black woman being appointed to the Supreme Court, but I'm not mad at Barack Obama being number 2 appointed to the Supreme Court justice after that Black woman.
Let me get past the bar first. Let me pass the bar first, and then we can talk about it.
Okay. You got time. You got a little time. But I think I'm going to close out, ladies. As I mentioned, we do have a daily inspiration now, and it's Yogi's Jewels. And this is, and I think it was you, Takara, that mentioned this word. Purposely create a positive mindset about your future. Mm-hmm. And just think about that in terms of just in your head, whether it's your vision board or whatever, but start, thinking about how you want this year to look, how you want the year after, and part of your 5-year plan and your 10-year plan. The next time you're, the head of a major corporation and you go into the CEO and tell them you want to quit, think a little bit about how, the positive mindset of your future. And that's something that we need to do, as well as we need to inspire that in our children.
Right, definitely.
I love it.
Definitely.
So, ladies, will you come back again? I really enjoy talking to you, and I want to know how you're doing and how things are going for you. I really appreciate Coy putting us together and having this conversation. And I just want to get updates and be able to encourage you in whatever way we can. And as I said, for people to reach out to you, and you said your video is on Facebook, and so we'll look for that. And we will also go to Instagram and follow you guys and do all of that good stuff as well. And all I ask of you is to subscribe to the What You Need to Know newsletter.
It's done. We have enjoyed talking to you as well, Sybil. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh,
and
honey,
we got to stay connected. I got to get you your shirt. So,
Okay. We will be in touch. And so I want to thank, of course, Coy every week for coming on with us, and really Z and Takara, thank you so much. Z, Lawrence, and Takara Hemingway. We appreciate you, ladies, and wish you only the best and for helping and for putting us in the right direction and reminding us that my Black has a purpose. So thank you all so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Before we leave, and I'm saying goodbye, I do have a habit of extending my goodbyes, so I will say goodbye and also thank the folks at Black Voters Matter. See y'all tomorrow. And vote. If you have not in Georgia, vote.
Vote.
You got one day.
Who needs a little love today? Who needs some love sent their way? Who needs love? Who needs love? Who needs a little love today? Who needs some love sent their way?